just gone up, they could have introduced yourself,
I said, I'm like, you know what? I'm globally famous. I really need you to know that I'm also famous. No, I'm kind of obsessed with both of them and their stories, and also 90 Day Fiance.
I love it. What about, one of the things you and I have in common, I have to bring up, is the first concert, the first album ever. This is where I date myself, but the Go-Go's have fundamentally shaped my musical existence as a human being as well. I know we share that.
I love them. And so exciting that they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And my first concert was the Vacation Tour, which was at the Great Theater in San Francisco and Berkeley. And I've seen them so many times in different capacities over the years and can count them as friends. They're really phenomenal.
I was just going to say, what is it like being friends with Belinda Carlisle?
She's awesome. And and her son is so great. And they're just incredible. Like I love all of them. I've written songs with Jane. I've gotten to interview all of them. I've, just like gotten to know them over the years. And I'm just a huge fan. And I think that they've done so much for women in music, and they just are amazing.
The Beauty and the Beat album is like, I think there's not one word that I don't know that I could tell you in my sleep.
So good. And I think, the whole story of them having to like take the towels back. The towels were like bought and then returned because they couldn't afford costumes in it. But it was such an iconic look. So playful, and it kind of 60s, like it had like that girl group 60s thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, very elegant, but also punk rock.
And it came in two different colors. It was like the blue, and then they had like an alternative like peach.
Yes. So great. So great.
Would you ever want to host your own talk show when we talk about things you haven't done, like a full hour the Margaret Cho show?
I would love that. I think like it's really something that it would be really special, and it would be really fun. And I love shows like Dinah Shore and those kinds of like show. I would love to have like Dr. Joyce Brothers on or something. I guess the equivalent now would be maybe Dr. Sue Johansson, somebody like that. And I love like talk shows, and I also love like Dick Cavett, like all of those older shows where you got to see sort of like the grand dames of Hollywood, people like Katharine Hepburn and everybody, like he would have like Alain Delon and John and Yoko and everybody. It was really incredible.
I can totally see this.
Yes.
Well, in addition to this starring role in Sex Appeal on Netflix, you've been in you've made appearances in so many of my other favorite TV shows, but talk to me about 30 Rock. That has to be a career high, being nominated for an Emmy.
Oh yes, that was really special. And I love Tina Fey, and I love working with her. And Fortune Feimster and I actually did a pilot for Tina before she was actually doing two pilots simultaneously. She was doing The Unsinkable Kimmy Schmidt and Cabot College, which Fortune and I did. And so, we worked together on that. And, Tina is just an incredible writer, incredible producer, incredible actor, and just such a great comedian and comedic voice. And so I love being on that show. And I feel like, something like that is just so eternal. So it's great to go back.
What was that pilot about with you and Fortune Feimster?
It was about a traditionally female college that was finally going to admit men. And it was for the first class of men going through a women's school. And so it was really like a fun, another sort of coming of age story, but in a sort of different sensibility. But it was a great project.
Were you and Fortune going to play professors?
Yeah, well, Fortune was like I guess a RA, or she was like the house. She's sort of like
the den mother.
Yeah, she was like house dorm monitor or whatever, which is so perfect at, and probably physical education. And I was the dean.
Could
really
someone
good.
please like find that on some shelf wherever that is and just come on?
So funny. I know, it was so good.
I mean, sex appeal, you know, it's Hulu, maybe who, you know, we can
Yeah,
make this all happen with.
so great.
What about you? Were also in Sex and the City? Were you waiting for your phone to ring from your friend SJP for And Just Like That?
I would love to. I mean, I think like it's to me, yeah. I would love to be a part of the new one. So we'll see.
Have you watched it yet?
I haven't. I'm like saving it so that I can watch it all. Like I had to do the same thing with Succession. Like I had to watch the entire, I can't have breaks. I have to watch it in like the 10-hour block. So
I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you mentioned Belinda and her son, who is very politically active in the community. Like as a member of the community myself, you know, thank you. You've been such an advocate.
Thank you.
Way from the start.
Yes.
What, you know, listen, it's so easy for people in the public eye, like that are famous, not to do anything. Just that's not you.
No, I think it's important because I mean, there's so many things to talk about. And so many people to sort of talk about and to talk with. And, you know, for me being a queer Asian American feminist, who's, you know, been around the community since the 70s. Like I have so much to say and so much to offer and so much to learn too. So it's good to be here.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you.
For sex appeal, I mean, you have so many funny scenes with Fortune Feimster, but did you interact with Paris Jackson at all? I have to ask.
No, I never got to see her. We were all shooting in different sections of the movie. So we never got to hang out. We were hoping that because we were going to have a big premiere in LA this week, but of course, with everything happening with Omicron, we had to sort of like not do that. But you know, I'm a fan, and I just wish that we could have had scenes together, but we never got to.
That would have been funny.
She's so great.
What is it like working with Fortune Feimster?
She's hilarious. I mean, it's also very familiar because it's like, oh, we've done so many things together. So it's like it's very normal to go and see her at work. Like I always work with her, or like Wanda Sykes, or, you know, Rebecca Henderson, or, you know, they're just actors that I take such joy with getting to work with and I'm very familiar with.
If you could work with like any actor or actress, just, you know, any genre, who would it be?
Gosh, you know who I love is Deborah Carr. I'm in a big Deborah Carr kick. She's dead, but she was so amazing. Like I just watched, I've done like a big Paulin Pressburger thing, just watching like The Red Shoes and Black Narcissus. She's a beautiful film. I also would have loved to work with Montgomery Clift and Elizabeth Taylor.
Okay.
I just watched Suddenly Last Summer yesterday, and it's such a crazy movie. Like after watching A Place in the Sun, that's a good double feature. A Place in the Sun and Suddenly Last Summer, you get to see the trajectory of Montgomery Clift and Elizabeth Taylor's relationship over time, and it's quite phenomenal. As a hag myself, to see the ages of the hag and their incredible pairing throughout the years. You know, Montgomery Clift is incredible. I loved I haven't seen the new Nightmare Alley, but the old one, the Tyrone Power one, is also incredible with Joan Blondell, who's really awesome. So I think like any of these old movie stars, I think would be the best, but definitely Elizabeth Taylor, Montgomery Clift, Deborah Carr.
Old school.
Yes.
Well, everyone needs to check out Sex Appeal. Like I said, I watched it. I loved it. Maybe there'll be a second one.
I hope so.
Let me just put that out into the universe.
That would be great.
Before we wrap up, if you were to now look back, like we started where you began, like what advice would you give your early self just starting out, looking back?
I think just don't worry too much about anything, and that like, you know, everything happens as it's supposed to happen, and just try to enjoy it. Like I was always so worried when I was younger about what life would look like now. And I'm really like, you know, I really didn't need to worry so much.
Kind of all works out, right?
Yes, it does.
Well, listen, you are an icon. I have wanted to talk to you for a very long time. So I really appreciate you taking your time. Love this new film. Love your entire career. listen, this is my job, but sometimes there are people I speak to where it's personal. So I just want to say thank you for doing this.